this on your computer.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the first thing you have to do is download FlashForge onto your computer. And the reason is FlashForge is a slicer for this kind of 3D printer. Most 3D printers use Cura, but this one uses FlashForge because it's a particular brand and it's their own slicer. So if you want to find something, you go into Thingiverse and you find what you want to print. I'm going to go into some that I know work. So I'm going to say Flexi for a thing. So these are all Flexi Cats, Flexi Raptor, Flexi Fish. And we've made these and these have been fairly successful. They have an automatic hinge, so they're kind of fun. So you pick one that you like and then you click it. This has changed a little bit. Thingiverse has changed, so it's sometimes sending you out to other places, so you may not want to do that. So let me go to one that we have done for sure. Let's go to the Flexi Fish. And you find what you want. You go down and read the things, and down here it'll show you all the Flexi things that you can bring up. We've done the Z-Rex, we've done none of the others on there, but we've done a bunch of Flexi. Download it. So let's say we're gonna do this Z-Rex. You click it, you download all the files. So right there, you're gonna go over here, start the download. We're gonna download it. It's gonna download it to your hard drive or to your downloads on your computer. And it's giving me trouble. So you may have to talk to Nadine or April. So you bring it into FlashPrint and you're going to slice it. Now slicing it just means you prepare it for the 3D printer. So when you slice it, you're gonna go into the slicer, and the slicer is gonna have you set up certain things to change. I usually don't change hardly anything except the bed temperature. And the reason I do that is I raise it up about 5 to 10 degrees just so that it'll adhere to the bed better. But after you get that all sliced, you're gonna put it on a flash drive. Now, my computer's not working, the flash drive's not working very well, so you may have to get a flash drive from Camille, a thing that works over here. Mine's not working. Then you take the flash drive over to the 3D printer. Turn it on down here in the corner. Wait for it to come up. So these are your choices: build, tools, and filament. First thing I'm going to show you is tools. You have to calibrate about every, I'd say 10 prints or so. So when you calibrate it, you have to get a piece of regular paper. And there's a couple of different theories about this, but I just do it this way because it works for me. So when you're calibrating, you are like resetting it. You're kind of making sure that it's balanced and level. So it'll go down and it'll do the middle one first, and it'll say calibrate this one, and you say, yeah, I want this one. And then after that, I always do a 9-point calibration. So it does 9 points on that board, on the bed. It goes to each corner in the middle all the way through. And then I have the kids do this. I teach them how to do this so that this is their job. The people on my tech committee, this is their job. Okay, so I'm gonna go here. You're going here to this Z-axis. You slide this up underneath and it should have a tiny bit of tug. Like there should be a little bit of resistance. So I need to go down. No, still not enough resistance. Right there. Now feel that. Jacob, can you feel that? Mm-hmm. Can you just feel how there's just a tiny bit of resistance? Okay, so now I'm gonna hit next. Do you want to continue with all of the calibration? And I'm gonna say yes. And it does take a minute to do this, but I think it's important for them to learn how to do this. While it's getting ready to calibrate, I'll tell you a couple of other things. This right here is it kind of is like a dehydrator. It takes the moisture out of the PLA. If you've had PLA that's been outside of a bag for very long, you need to plug that in and put the PLA in there and have it dry out your filament. It's not as bad here as it would be in a humid environment, but it still helps. So if you have a PLA that's not working very well, you may want to put it in that for a day and just dry it out. Okay, so now it's back here at the back, and I'm getting ready to do the calibration. See how it slid right under there? No resistance. I'm gonna go down, down again. Okay, so that's got resistance, so I'm gonna go the next. And I make my students do all 9 of these. And after they do it once or twice, they get pretty good at doing this, so you don't have to do it. And if you teach one person or 1 or 2, and then they can teach the others, they get pretty good at it. Okay, so that one's got too much resistance. Feel that, Jacob? That's almost got too much resistance.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go up 1. Yeah, that feels better. So now I'm gonna hit next. There's PLA, which is most of the time what I use. I did buy a nozzle for the other kind. Let me think what it's called. I'll have to look it up, and I have it over here. And this is a little bit different PLA. It's shiny and it doesn't work very well. You may have to adjust the settings if you want to try this. You may have to do either a hotter temperature. This one has 0.04 to 240 degrees. So this is supposed to work on it, but you may need a hotter bed temp. Okay, that's got a little too much resistance. So I'm gonna go up 1. That's about right. Okay. So this other kind is ABS, maybe, and their temperature on ABS, I think, goes up to 260. So I have another nozzle if you decide you want to use that stuff, which I don't use because I didn't want to change the nozzle. They're kind of time intensive to change. They're just a little annoying to change. So I do PLA pretty much, but I did order some of this other stuff. So if you want to try it, you can change the nozzle. It's not terrible to change. You just might have to watch a video to change it. You have to take this out. This is very hot. Don't let the kids touch the nozzle because it goes up to 240 degrees Celsius to melt the PLA. So don't let the kids touch it with their finger. Okay, so here's another. Okay, hitting the next. So if you're going to use the other one, you have to put in the other nozzle, and then I would do several of those at the same time. Calibrate it and everything and use that if you're going to use that kind of plastic, whatever it's called, PLA. Yeah, that one's all right. We're almost done. We have 9 total. The bed heats up to 60 degrees Celsius, so it's kind of warm. But when something finishes, I usually try to take it right off because it's easier to get things off of the bed if it's still a little bit warm. You pinch right here and pull that out. I'll show you when this is done calibrating. I'll show you how to do that. You pull it out and then take it off. Sometimes I have to use one of those flat staple removers to get stuff off the bed. And then I usually put them on a raft. This printer prints better if you put a raft on the bottom. A raft is just a plastic piece that sticks on the bottom. See, that one has a raft on the bottom there. When you're done, you just pull it off the raft. Some things I leave on the raft because I think it makes them more stable. So like we made this and had a raft on it, and I took the raft off and these hands broke off. So sometimes it's better to leave the raft on.
Does the raft, is that included in the print?
It's included in the print, and then when I'm done, you can take it off, and it usually pops off pretty easily. You may have to use one of those staple removers to pop it off, but you do need to pop off the raft if you want it off. And I would take it off right then while it's warm. It's a little harder. Some of these, if you don't take them right off, you can see a little bit of the raft will stay on there a tiny bit. Okay, so I'll show you a couple other things, and then I'll show you how to change the PLA, which isn't hard. The kids' favorites are the Infinity Cube. They all love these. These take about 3 or 4 hours to make. This takes about 2 hours to make. You wouldn't think so, but it takes less time. I have a setting for 3 FlexiFish, 3 or 4, and it can make 3 or 4 at the same time, or you can do 1, which is about 2 hours, but I think 4 is about 8 hours. But the thing that parents love about these are fun for Mom or Father's Day, is that they automatically hinge, and the parents are just enamored with them. They just can't believe that it can do that. Okay, and the last one here needs to go up. Okay, so now it's done, completed, and the extrude will go up. So it has X, Y, and Z. You know, just like our 3D objects would have X, Y, and Z. Z, I think, is what we're doing there. Please be careful with this. I've never broken it. I don't allow kids to come over and mess with this because it's not really durable, so you just got to be careful with it. But I like it because it cuts down on the noise and it protects whatever's 3D printing from little fingers going in there to
Plug it.
yeah. Okay, so now I need to, you guys will probably want to kind of get over on this side. Okay, I'm going to show you how to change the PLA. So I'm going back here to filament on the front. Push filament, and we're going to click change. We're going to change the filament. Okay, so we're going to just, it's going to heat up the extruder to 240 degrees Celsius because it has to release the filament coming out of the nozzle. So it's going to take a minute to do that. And then you get the filament that you want to put in. I'm going to go ahead and put the rainbow back in. But any of them, if it gets down to this much, you're probably not going to get a print out of that. And it will mess up your printer if it runs out. It's not good. So try to never ever have it run out. Always err on the side of pulling it out before it runs out too much. Okay, so it's at 224. Now it's going to beep at me and say, hey, I'm going to change the stuff. Also, you never want to get this tied up. This happened the other day. You never want this to go underneath the other one because then it gets stuck and it will mess up your print. That happened to us the other day on that one, I think. Okay, so it's pulling it out, and as it starts to come out, you have to wind it back this way. See, it's coming out right here. Can you guys see that? Okay, so there it came out. Will you hold that?
Yep.
And hold that.
This is a PVC.
PLA, yeah, it's kind of like PVC. Okay, so now it says, pull out filament and feed new filament and press OK. So I'm going to put in the new filament. It goes clockwise, and this goes right inside here. You can see the little arrow. You have to kind of fill it and push it up until it gets to that little gear. Can you see that gear right there? Okay, and then you're going to click OK, and it's going to start pulling it in. But I always hand push it in to make sure it's going up through that. Today it didn't grab it. It wasn't grabbing it. So you just have to get it started, and then it's good. And then it'll start pulling it really slowly. And it's just feeding it up into here and getting it up to the nozzle. And then it says on the front thing, press OK when the color appears. So now you sit here and start watching. This is the old color that was there. Now if you watch for a few minutes, it's heating up and it's slowly feeding it through. You can see the PLA coming through. It's about right here right now, and it's very slowly coming in. And pretty soon it'll start dripping out of here, and you wait till the new color shows. Now we had white in there, and now we're gonna have rainbow. So we've got to wait until rainbow comes out. It's only about 2 inches. So now you can see it's coming down a little bit. I had to repair it twice, and when I did, I just had to look up things online. Your best support will be at the high school with Mr. Barlow. If you need help, he could send some students over. Okay, so this is the white coming out, and now you can just barely start to see the other color come out. I wait till it goes out for, a couple inches, and then I hit OK. And now it's ready to print. So when you're ready to print, so you can also load and unload on these for the PLA. So now if you want to build, this is my menu, and so these are the ones that work pretty well. Wally does not work. The Porta iron with a raft is a fidget, and it does not work very well. If you want to try it a few times and see if you can get it to work, I don't think I have one there. Batman works great. The hollow vase works great, and is a really fun pencil holder. You could spend the summer making everybody one of those, and they could all have their own pencil holder if you wanted to. And they don't take very long to make. because there's nothing to fill it. Okay, so then you push this over arrow. The Z-Rex works. It can clamp onto papers and can clamp on their finger or their pencil. Baby Groot works great. The Infinity Cube works great. Only the laying down one, the standing up one, does not work. Stitch works great. There's a little stitch and a big stitch. The Alaska is a battleship. It works great. Mario does not work great. Never have been able to get it to work. Flexi Fox works most of the time. Occasionally it'll mess up, so you just got to keep an eye on it at first. The 3 fish, that's 3 of these in a row on the bed. You can multiple print. So if on a found flash print you want to make 4 or 5 stitches at the same time, you can, and it will adjust it to put them all on the same bed. So here's the fish. That one works good. The scorpion does not work very well. The knurled spinners, they're a ring that the kids can wear, and I think that's 4 at the same time, and that works good. They don't spin though, they just spin on their finger. The Darth Vader ring always looks crappy on the bottom. I don't know why, so that's not a great one, either of the Darth Vader rings. The dolphin doesn't work, the snowmobile doesn't work, the fidget standing upright doesn't work, and this fidget just looks pretty, but it doesn't do anything. Baby Groot pencil holder is this. It takes about 8 hours to make one, but it looks really cool, especially in rainbow.
But leave the raft on that one so his hands don't
I
get burnt.
leave the raft on just to protect his hands, yeah. The rhino works, and it has a tail that moves and everything, and the hinges on the legs looks really cool. The woodpecker works. It holds paper on your desk or whatever. The octopus they love. It's just kind of a fidget that they can play with. The Pikachu does work. Best Friends is a horse, and it looks real pretty in black or white, and that one does work. This catapult works, but then to catapult it breaks almost every single time. So you have to be really careful with it. If you want to shoot something, you just can barely pull it back. It doesn't work very well. The big Stitch works great, even the larger one. The Yoshi does not work. The fish fossil does work. Stitch works. The scorpion does not work. The Stitch medium with the raft works. This is another fidget, doesn't work. The Porto Grillo, whatever. The sweeping name is what I made for Mr. Henry that said something and for your desk. You can change that one in the flash print. You can change what it says. And then this is a ring that does spin, but it only makes 1 at a time. But the inside stays on your finger and the outside spins. And then the last one is the Darth Vader ring. That doesn't work very well. And then this is the very first one that it comes with, and it's just a little tiny box. And so if you want to just test it to see if your printer's working well, that's the one you usually do as a test print. It's a little box. I don't know if I have that in here or not. Oh, I do. This is what this thing looks like. So that was the very first one. You can kind of see the honeycomb inside of every print. It does honeycomb unless you tell it different, because it doesn't want to fill it. I do put glue on the bed most of the time to adhere it to the bed. This is not a glass bed. Some people buy a glass bed, but this is just the regular bed it came with. Every 2 or 3 prints, you need to clean it off with Clorox wipes or something. I usually use Clorox wipes. And then, so I do put this down on the bed before I start. Sometimes it just helps hold it down.
Put it down.
I just,
Just
where-
like you're gluing the paper about that much.
Yep. And here's where you put in, after you've used
Download
the thing. You can put them in here and download them on and try them. Keep an eye right when they first start, the first 2 or 3 minutes. You can even have a student come and watch. You can see if it's starting good. If it starts to mess up, things will start moving with they'll get stuck to the,
You need to have students not bump the table.
trying to not have him bump the table, because then right here in the middle of his head, you'll have a line. Like if they bump right while it's printing there, it'll knock it off a little bit. So try not to have them bump the table too much.
So like
Here's-
before you go home,
Here's the
Turn it on
woodpecker. So you can stick a paper in there and it'll hold it. So that's kind of fun. So anyway, anything else?
Oh, that's great.
You don't wind
So
up
that-
letting it
So it doesn't,
go on there wrong.
yep. And then I put it in a bag and hopefully with a oxygen absorber, because that helps with the moisture. Okay. And then you need to store them all in a locker and store them with all the stuff. Here's all the tools and things. Oh, see, there's a whole bunch of rafts. That's for the fish, the octopus,